So we're pretty much still neck deep in spotted turtle telemetry at this point. Most of our time's going to tracking females and looking for nests, so that's the bulk of what we're doing right now. However, we are still finding a little bit of time here and there to look for snakes for our SFD surveys. And this past week, me and a couple of other guys from Orianne did some aquatic snake surveys. And we weren't just looking for any aquatic snake, we were looking for one of the least commonly seen snakes in Georgia, the rainbow snake. And usually when we go looking for these guys, we come up empty. We've been doing it quite a bit the last 2 years. However, this week we had quite a good stroke of luck. We were out 2 different nights, and the first night I was out with Michael and Zach, our spotted turtle technicians. And Zach actually spotted a foraging rainbow snake in the shallows of a creek floodplain, and but unfortunately it got away before anyone could catch it. So 2 nights later I came out with John and Jacob from our land management crew, and we came out and searched the same area. And after about an hour and a half or so, Jacob actually spotted another rainbow snake, potentially the same one. It was in the same general area. And luckily, we were able to catch it before it got away. So here it is. This is probably one of the prettiest snakes in the country, definitely the southeast. The rainbow snake, Farancia erytrogramma. Now, these rainbow snakes are just spectacular animals. As you can see, I mean, they're just absolutely gorgeous. Lots of red and yellow on the belly with rows of black dots, and then on the back you have this shiny black with red pinstripes. They're just gorgeous animals, and like the mud snake, they are in the genus Farancia, so that's their closest relative, and they share a lot of similarities with mud snakes. However, they are pretty unique themselves. They're not found in the same types of wetlands typically as you'd find mud snakes. Rainbow snakes seem to prefer creeks and rivers, flowing water, and actually even will sometimes enter brackish water along the coast. They are highly aquatic, so that is probably the main reason why people rarely see these animals. They're incredibly secretive. Even though they may be fairly abundant in an area, people just don't see them very often. Just like mud snakes, rainbow snakes are dietary specialists, and instead of eating sirens and amphiumas, the preferred food of rainbow snakes is the American eel. Now, they'll also eat some amphibians and tadpoles, aquatic salamanders when they're young, but the main staple of their diet is the American eel. And the eel itself actually has a really cool biology. It's a very fascinating species. Adults spawn out in the Sargasso Sea, so the adults breed out there, lay eggs. One female can lay as many as 4 million eggs, and then after breeding, they die. And then those eggs hatch, turn into larval eels, and over the course of the next several months to a year, those small eels will make their way back to the coast and back up these freshwater rivers and creeks, where they'll spend about 10 to 20 years maturing, foraging, growing, and then once they reach maturity, they'll make that migration back out to the Sargasso Sea to reproduce. So it's a really cool natural history for that prey item, but it's also one that raises some concerns for the rainbow snake. American eels have experienced some pretty severe declines in portions of their range, and actually have been extirpated from some areas. And this is the result of humans building dams on waterways. If you're an eel, a large man-made structure in the water is kind of a roadblock. Usually eels can't get past that. So what we've essentially done is cut off the populations or the habitat in the headwaters of these river systems from eels. And if that happens in rainbow snake range, you lose the eels, well, you're probably going to lose rainbow snakes as well, since that's their main food source. Unfortunately, most biologists believe that rainbow snake populations are doing pretty good. They're just very hard to detect, and that makes them a very difficult species to study and a difficult species to monitor. So if they were to experience some severe declines, it may be difficult to detect, at least initially. So that's one reason why our SFD data could potentially be very important. If we are able to survey a lot of these snakes and get some good baseline data for them throughout the state, we may be able to learn a little bit on just how much of a threat snake fungal disease is for this species. It may or it may not. We just don't know at this point. All right, time to let him go.